Alright, what's so different about driving in Australia? Well, there are a lot of things they do here which we don't do in Malaysia, and offhand I would say that there are a lot of things here we can learn from how the Australians drive or how the driving culture is. Hi, welcome to YS Khong Driving. We are now in middle of winter in Australia. Actually, it's just the start of winter, and temperatures here are around 7 degrees or 5 degrees at night to about 14 or 15 in the daytime. And we are in the car park of Bunnings and going out onto the main road, and we're going to talk about driving in Australia. So what's the difference? Okay, for a start, you need to have a driver's license. So the question is, can a Malaysian driver's license be used here in Australia? Yes, it can, because there are two ways you can drive in Australia. One is you can have a IDP, which is the, I'm going to stop here for a while, yeah? The IDP, which is short for International Driving Permit, is actually a translation of your Malaysian driver's license into English, yeah? And fortunately for us in Australia, you don't need this IDP, which costs about 158 to 160 ringgit, yeah? And of course you need to have photographs and all that, and you need to go to AAM or to JPJ. So for Australia, you don't need that IDP, because all they need is an English translation of your license. And fortunately for us, the Malaysian license has got English subtitles, you know, like where you have your name in Malay is nama, and of course in English it says name of driver, and then your address and all that. So there are English translations for all the headers, so it's easy to understand. So you can drive in Australia if you have a Malaysian driving license, a valid one of course, and it's the same as the classes that you are allowed to drive on, rather the classes you're allowed to drive in Malaysia, so it's the same. And so that is if you are a visitor to Australia. But if you are a permanent resident, then the authorities advise that you should get a local license, which means you got to go for a test. Okay. So that's that part out of the way. Let's go out onto the road. Okay, we are leaving the Bunnings warehouse, which is one of my favorite places, because they sell everything you want, yeah, and at quite reasonable prices. Okay, so on the road, what's the difference? The first thing that I can tell you is the speed limits here are very strictly enforced. Okay, very strictly enforced, and speed limits can be anything from 30 to 100, 110. On the highways is between 90 to 110, and on the smaller roads it is between 40 to 60, and sometimes 70, sometimes 80. But the important thing here is, even though, okay, let's look at this speed limit now, it's 70, okay, and I'm going at 70. In fact, we're going slightly above 70, but what I'm doing is I'm following the flow of traffic. In Malaysia, if you have a 70 km/h speed limit, you'll have people going at 40, people going at 50. But over here, I'm able to go at 70 because everybody is driving at the speed, which is the speed limit, okay? So there's no hurry, you don't need to overtake anybody, and nobody will overtake you if you are able to drive at the speed limit. So that means there's no hurry, there's no rush, there's no urgency. We are going at 70 and there's no problem at all. And it's the same thing when it's 100, 110 or 80 or 90. Okay, so lane for turning left, so nobody signals because this lane only turns left or goes straight. Yeah, so he is not turning left, he is going straight. We are turning left, so we are signaling left. Right. So don't get caught driving past the speed limit. Yeah, now the speed limit is 60, as you can see on the signboard there. And on the left you see there's a bicycle lane. You are not supposed to go into the bicycle lane. You can see the bicycle drawn on the left hand side of this line. Yeah, and this one, the speed limit is now at 60, and we are happily going along at 60, no problem whatsoever. Okay, over here, if you don't follow the rules, there are some unspoken rules. Like for example, if the speed limit is 60, you drive at the speed limit. You don't drive too slow, because if you drive too slow, you will get scolded by all the other drivers. Okay, you make a nuisance of yourself. So therefore, driving in Australia, you have to be very mindful what people are doing. So he's now signaling left, and he's going off the lane, and he's going to turn left. See how well behaved they are. They come out of the turn, they don't go past the line, they stay inside the line. And so you see, okay, now I'm going to the left because I'm not going very fast. There are some people who go above the speed limit, and there's a bus who's going a little bit more aggressive. I'm going at exactly 60, and he's trying to overtake me at 61 kilometers per hour. Okay, so nothing to worry. We just follow the speed limit, and you stay within the lane. You do not change lanes. If you change lanes, you kena scolding. So okay, so the bus is passing us, and we don't want to be aggressive drivers, so we just go at, I'm going at 55, a little bit slower than the speed limit. Well, I'm not going that slow, so nobody is scolding me. But you can see the others are overtaking, and see the bus overtook me, and he came back into his lane. And let's see what happens to these two cars, the car and the truck overtaking the bus. And let's see whether they come back into the lanes. No, he doesn't. Okay, so he's going at the speed limit, and there he goes. So this is the beautiful Warners Bay. It's a 45-kilometer drive around this big Lake Macquarie down in Newcastle, and it's a very scenic drive. But it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and unfortunately at 4 o'clock in the afternoon the sun is starting to go down. Yeah, so we'll take off our sunglasses, and this is the Warners Bay area near Belmont, and we are in a little place about 2 hours north of Sydney called Newcastle. So what's my conclusion? Well, my conclusion is not everything they do here is to my liking, because I definitely like to go a little bit faster, and some of the rules are really very stifling. But having said that, I think in terms of road safety, it is much safer here. Okay, the speed limit here is 50, and I'm going at 50. I'm looking for a place to U-turn so we can go back. Okay, here is the area now. Within 2:30 to 4 o'clock, there is what you call a school area. See the sign on the left, 8 to 9:30 a.m, 2:30 to 4 p.m. You cannot exceed 40 kilometers per hour. The time is actually 4:03 now, but generally people go a little bit slower in the school area. So at the end of the school area, they will have what you call end of school area, then they will give you the new speed limit. Alright, now driving in Australia, how do you get around? I use Waze, that's in school zone, and it's 50 kilometers now. I'm going to look for a place where it's safe to make a U-turn and come back out. Okay, this place looks very empty. I'm going to make a U-turn and we're going to go back out. Yep. Now, getting around in Australia is very easy. You use Waze. Waze is very well established here. No problems. It will take you by the best route all the time. Okay, so if you don't have Waze, you can of course use a map, but I think Waze is the way to go lah. I haven't used Google Maps here, but Waze is very good because it can also tell you if there are police around, whether there's a speed trap, things like that. So that part is also good, and I think a lot of people rely heavily on that. So do I like driving in Australia? Yes, I do, because it's quite nice and quite pleasant. Do I enjoy it very much? Up to a point, because I can't get to drive fast. So up to a point I enjoy it, and let's say if we do this in Malaysia, would it be good? Most definitely. It would be good because at least that you will cut down the accident rate lah. Okay, so I will sacrifice myself, and if they implement the system in Malaysia, I would gladly welcome it. But the most important thing about any system here is, of course, the enforcement. Yeah, enforcement is very important. So at traffic lights, you don't do things like jump the lights. Motorbikes don't jump the lights here. So everybody obeys the law, and that is already a very positive sign. Okay, so anyway, if you're coming to Australia, watch this video, and even if you're not coming to Australia, watch this video and see how other people drive. Yeah, and hopefully we can all learn from it. So what have we learned? Obey the rules, signal your intentions when you change lanes. Okay, stick to the speed limit. Okay, don't go slower than the speed limit. If you go too slow, you kena scolded. You go too fast, you also kena scolded, and you get a summons at the same time. In fact, in some places, if you go too slow, the police will pull you over and tell you, hey guy, hey mate, you're going too slow. Yeah, so well, I hope we all have learned a little bit from this, and please share and please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.